Greetings. It's working. Everything's working. I think the mic is working too. This is a really good mic. I think they say it's one of the best mics. Blue Yeti. Um, Sounds pretty good to me. Okay, so and the new computer I'm using is it's working fairly good. Not perfect, but it's working pretty. Where's the camera? There you are. Who are you people? Anyways, this is Stargods. Oh yeah, this is Stargods here. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Okay, I want to talk about how we never went to the moon, and I'll give it to you straight. But then the world's full of slugs that'll always debate you. No, that's not true. And they got their eyes way up there. Whoa, creepy looking things. Okay, up front, I just before I get into it, like Dr. Fauci, remember our God and Savior, Dr. Fauci? When he speaks, he brings the message down. Bill Gates carries it, the tablets, down. He's God. He's God. Whatever he says is believed. If he says that the virus tap dances, they've looked at it in a micro and see it tap dance, then that becomes reality. That's the new reality. Anyways, you're not allowed to diss him at all. We just had what's his name, Rand Paul. He got a senator, I think he is. Anyways, he slammed him, and we're getting all so excited because there's justice in the world. Fauci's going down. No, he wasn't. He was the only senator out of hundreds, probably. I don't know how many senators, but probably hundreds of senators that actually spoke up. Nobody else does, so they're going to sweep him under the rug pretty damn soon. That Ghislaine trial, forget about that. Nothing's going to come out about that. I suspect she won't have any plea deals, so none of the real juicy information is going to get out. And Prince Philip can party now, boy. You hear that, Princey baby? Looking at my notes here. So Fauci, you're no longer allowed to disagree with him because it's now hate speech against Fauci. He got so upset he had to go and change his panties. Don't listen to this Tom Jackass Jones, who is actually Alex Jones. Don't listen to him. He's just a fear monger. They're all fear mongers. People drop truth bombs. Yeah, it's not really the truth. It's highly scripted. They drop truth bombs, but now they're all these people. They drop fear bombs. Oh, but they have a show on YouTube and blah 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 blah. They don't know nothing. These leakers, they leak information, know nothing. They don't show hard proof documentation. If they don't show hard proof documentation, don't believe them. Just walk away from them. I think Mike Adams is a bit of a fear bomber. I'm getting really tired of all these fear bombers. They blow everything out of proportion and all that. Anyways, Tahoe now, I think it was Lake Tahoe, a lot of the tourist areas are getting shut down because the chipmunks they've been tested and proven positive for the virus. And deer now, they want to eliminate all deer, because 1/3 of the deer have the virus. Now they're talking about Delta. Absolute. Did you not learn in school that Did you not learn the basic biology in school? Mutations, they're saying, see, Dr. Fauci's now saying, there's something worse. There's something worse out there that's bigger than Delta. It's coming, it's mutated. Why didn't they mutate Biden? He's a candidate for cloning or something, anything, because he's not real. He's not real. He's just some kind of non-human entity that's part of the script. I just ate a cookie. So Fauci says that mutations. I mean, everything mutates downwards. It doesn't mutate upwards. Oh no, the Delta virus. All the slugs are gathering together. The Delta. It's it doesn't go up. It goes down. They mutate. They've tried to prove this with the theory. Oh, they left out the word theory of evolution. They've left that out. Anyways, they've left out studies where they've demonstrated that when something mutates, it mutates downward. It doesn't go upwards. This is too long. What is it? 6 minutes? Oh, jeez. It mutates downwards, and they found out they mutated fruit flies. Some of them had one eye, no eyes. A lot of them had no wings. They shriveled up. They couldn't fly. So every time you mutate a species of anything, of so-called virus, of anything, it's going down, okay? It's going down. So I'll have my milk of mescaline, yeah, from the cactus. Anyways, people out there are it's a world of dumbing down slugs. See, the bottom line is that we are all slaves, and educated slaves are no longer slaves, so they have to keep us down and stupid. I know they don't. They all say, oh, we would just want truth. And then you say, oh, this is something I'm working on. This is what I feel is true. Blasphemer. That's not in the Bible. I don't give a flying if it's in the Bible or not. The Bible doesn't mean anything to me. So don't talk to me. Give me a little science to go on. So here we go. We got to get started. I'm already 8 minutes. Did we go to the moon? No. We did not go to the moon. And there's some logical deductions as to why we didn't go to the moon. When Ford came out with the Ford Model T, did he come out with a Lincoln Continental? No, it had to be years and years and decades of development. You just can't come up with the very best first time ever, Hey. So he would be advised. If you're building a Lincoln Continental, you have to have fuel injection. Well, what's that and how it's relative, and what is the concept? You don't have the concept, you don't have the product. If you don't have a basis of earlier inventions that put together into a bigger, more advanced invention, if you don't have the basis of that, you have nothing. You have to have the brick and the cement. There's no two ways about it. So it would be kind of interesting if instead of Model T Ford, he comes out with a Continental, Lincoln Continental. In order to do that, he would have had to jump past generations Okay, so they had no technology back then, and they were told they had no technology. They knew full well they did not have the technology in the 60s. They did not have the technology to go to the moon. It's clear. Any idiot that says otherwise is slugman. I mean, it's just ridiculous. You can easily prove they did not have the technology. And there was one fellow, I forget his name, Thompson. I forget. Anyways, he was a head of health and safety. Maybe not health, head of safety. Anyways, he did a 500-page report saying, "You're not going to the moon. We don't have the technology. It doesn't exist." And he took his family out one day on Sunday, and they got tired of driving, so they decided to park the car and sleep on a railroad track. Well, he was gone. You have Grissom, who was the original, was going to be the original Neil Armstrong. He said, "I'm not going anywhere in this tin can. This is dangerous." Well, oops, sorry. Uh, Yeah, he said, and then he said he was going to have a press conference saying this is dangerous. We don't have the technology, and he's going to have it Monday, and he died. Isn't that funny how they died? It's so cute. It's just coincidence. You are so knowledgeable, old master. Coincidence. Um, And basically, how do you have a concept of something that doesn't even exist? Fly to the moon. With what? What kind of concept are you having? Go there in a wheelbarrow, or go in there in an air balloon? What are we talking here? But then in comes Werner von Braun, who says, yeah. We've got lots of technology when it comes to Halloween rockets. Yes, and so now it gave you a concept, it fused a concept in your head, plus a few movies before that, propaganda movies. Yeah, you get in a Halloween missile and you go to the moon. Bing, boom. But the thing is, all the missiles that were developed and tested during the age of Apollo there, they blew up everywhere. They were blown up, blown up. Look up the movie A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon, and prepare to get blown away and get your slug eyes shot off. Okay? It'll, um, what can I say? I supply the link, but I don't want to. I'm just too lazy. And go to the moon. What do you mean? Because there was a major scientific narrative that it was now proving that the moon was not a big rock in space. It was actually plasma. And they couldn't go to the moon. He said on TV in an interview, look it up. The moon is plasma. Look it up and find him, get his name, take notes. You do the work. I'm not. I'm lazy. But I'm not slug lazy. You know, anything you say of truth, you get these two big eyes. You're a liar. That's not in the Bible. Well, you can take your Bible, and well, we won't get into details of that. There's no concept that, and plus you'd have to invent a machine, which that's what it is, the lamb and the module. You have to invent mechanics that never existed at that time. The concept didn't even exist. Oh, we're going to make you know, like Ford, you know, yeah, we're going to make a Lincoln Continental, and we're going to have, you know, fuel injection. You don't even have the concept of what fuel injection does. Never mind, created out of thin air. Hey, boss, I created one. Yeah, do I get a raise? It's just absolutely ridiculous. There's no concept. But yet they made parts for a machine that didn't even exist at the time. It wasn't even in the imagination of man. They make it. and instead of testing these parts for because part failure is one of the biggest opposition to mechanical machinery development. Parts fail. So they have the highest technology all of a sudden out of nowhere. And like I mentioned, all these rockets were exploding during experiments. And when it came time to the moon, go to the moon, bing and bang to the moon, no problem at all, and everything. Part failure, not heart failure, but part instrumental failure is #1 risk. So you've got something invented that's never even been conceived, and there it is. Excuse me, this feels like it's going to be long. Anyways, it's never been created before because the concept never was even, it wasn't in the narrative. But they make up parts for a machine that hasn't even been invented yet. The lamb and all that, and the space capsule and all that. Isn't that really weird? Isn't that bizarre? And instead of being tested for 20, 30 years and improved upon and built upon, out of my head and on the drawing floor. Yeah, it goes pop, and then it goes pop onto the paper, pop onto a blueprint, and we're off to the moon. Does that sound like? And this is the most dangerous thing to ever do. They should have had, because of the thousands of newly invented mechanisms, they should have had a problem. You know, you see these aircraft carriers, oh, they're so impressive. They have mechanical failures constantly. There's mechanics on staff. They are there to fix the breakdowns constantly. But we have the Apollo program go right through, bing, bang, to the moon with no problems at all. Oh, but we had Apollo 13. Can you believe Apollo 13? Well, then you don't know how they script things. This is my milk of masculine. I probably already said that. So you're building. Okay, so let's. You're on a planet. Let's call it Planet XYZT59 or Planet LBGT. You know, we're on a planet, and I come to you and say, I want an invention made. We have a need for a submersible, the device like a submarine, right, to go down. But there's no water anywhere, but it's an unknown environment. We're dealing with an unknown environment, so we're making. I'm getting tired. We're tailor making inventions to probe an unknown territory that we don't know anything about. What if it wasn't dust on the moon? They made those big pads. They somehow knew there's dust on the moon. They knew that. They knew the composition of the dust. No, they didn't know anything because this is unknown, untested territory. You create a device to adapt to the new environment. But if you've never been on this environment before, oh my goodness. Unless you're the most imaginative person and psychic, I see dust and trees. They have no way to prepare for the environment you've never seen before. I don't care if they landed probes. I don't know. Did they land probes ahead of time? If they didn't, it becomes even more extraordinarily funny. Anyways, they go to the moon, and not one piece of newly invented, untested part failed. Oh, they had a very short testing period, very, very short. That goes to show you how fake it is. What if they invented the phone instead of inventing the hello, China, Hingo, Honga? What if they invented a cell phone right off the bat, and it worked? No system failure, nothing. And they have all this. Wouldn't you be suspicious? So in the age of the 60s, where they had nothing, they weren't ahead of the game. They were behind the Russians. That was well documented. They were way behind the Russians. Okay, so they're forced into a corner. They got to go to the moon, but they can't because they're way behind in technology. They don't know, and I doubt if the Russians were actually really ahead. I think that was propaganda for the war. There is a theory that they wanted to bankrupt the Soviet Union, so they created a fake space program that the Soviets would have to drain their economy for, because with NASA you just have to show a movie and then you get what, $50 trillion. Okay, so you'd have all these bugs, eh? You'd have all kinds of mechanical failures because they have to be tested for decades and decades, tested and perfected. And you learn about, as with each failure, you grow and expand and rebuild the technology. They didn't have any of that. They had to get to the moon. Now, okay. Imagine making something, you're making a robot that's going to be adaptable to some unknown environment that you've never been before. You know, do they need feet to walk with, or do they have rollers, or what kind of concept are we dealing with here? Unless somebody previously landed on the moon, they wouldn't know how to design it. How do you design for something that's never been designed or invented yet? Who has to run on parts that have never been invented yet? But they just pull rabbits out of their hat, and everybody, yeah, I believe, and all the slugs, I believe. Okay, with the Van Allen radiation belt, they should have been Kentucky Fried. It was the highest level of radiation at that time because of sunspot activities. The sunspot greatly enlarged the level, expand the deadliness of the Van Allen radiation belt. But they went through and they didn't even get one cell that had cancer. They never came down with cancer or sickness or radiation illness. They didn't lose their hair. They came back fine. Yeah. How is that? They say, oh, because they went through the Van Allen radiation belt so fast. I've heard figures from 4 hours to maybe 1.5 hours that they were going through, and I had it explained to me. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Oh, it's like a candle. You go like this, you don't burn. You don't burn. Oh, really? So if you have 4 hours of candle after candle after candle, guess where your hand's going to be? Your little hands are going to be in heaven. And that's like, well, if I run really fast through a rainstorm, I'm not going to get wet. I'll just... Oh my God. Oh, well, they are slugs. The slugs love to eat that, that crap. They love to gobble it down. If I had a highly radioactive nugget of fresh from the mine, it's okay if I hold it only for an hour and a half. I'll be okay. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And so the Van Allen radiation belt is very serious, and they're talking about it today. I think it's the shield, the dome. That's what it is. You don't get past the dome. And it was the worst radiation level ever. And when you look at these pictures, the Earth is supposed to be 4 times the size of the moon, and we see the moon with the little teeny tiny Earth. That doesn't do it. they say, oh, well, they couldn't keep it a secret. Well, they sure kept the atomic bomb secret. 100,000 people worked on the atomic bomb, and there was not one leak. Not one leak. And then you have, oh, now I'm going to get to the real good stuff here. Write this down. This is just brief. I could really get into it. But you have micrometeors. Micrometers. And they, oh, I got to look it up just to say, oh, thank God this has a pause button. Hey, I think I'm back. Unless, no, I'll just upload it. I'm not going to check it. So anyways, they have micrometeors. And these micrometers in space, they're basically called space dust. And this space dust is just small particles of like iron, or, excuse me, iron or whatever, right? Some of them can be the size of your fingernail. And so I looked up and they're shooting through space like it's like a dust storm in space. They can do a lot of damage because they're extremely abrasive. So I looked up micrometers. I'm more interested about the thumb size ones, you know. Guess how fast they travel. I looked it up. I still think that's too hard to believe. But I looked it up on Wikipedia, and they travel at 20,500 miles an hour. But they bounce off the astronauts because they got Superman's cape and they made it into these space travel outfits. Bing and a bang and a bing bing bing. Watch this. Bing. Anyways, one of those would shoot through an astronaut, and if it didn't, because they have Superman's cape, that astronaut would be flying across the moon, okay? The impact would be enormous. But they say, oh no, we got special technology that bounces them off, and you know, because you get in the middle of these storms, and what it does is the sand, the micrometeor sand, will grind everything down to nothing. So how is the ISS still up there? I don't get it. That should have been shredded to nothing. So you know, and they're up there, and these space sandstorms will grind anything down to nothing, to dust. And then the astronauts, we don't know Armstrong was on the moon. We never saw his face because the helmets, but just beautiful polished glass should have been. That sand is so abrasive, it would have they wouldn't have been able to see. Well, hey, Joe, where are you? You know, hey, Neil, over here. Oh, don't go near that cliff. Just absolutely ridiculous. See how childish it is? It's totally logical. And on top of all this, NASA has often stated that micrometeors are very prevalent when you get into space. Very prevalent. Oh, really? Well, how come the land... what's that? The lamb? The one that lands with the legs and everything. How come that wasn't ground down to powder? I don't get it. They just had little foil on top, you know. And download a good picture of the lander, right? And blow it up, maybe lighten it up a bit. The flag that is on thank you, doctor, I can speak again. The flag that was stuck to the platform, I guess you'd say, of the land. Look at, and what you'll see is crinkled paper. The flag is made out of paper, and you can see clear evidence of Scotch tape. So you can get that from NASA archives. You know, so it hasn't been photoshopped. And I think this is, oh my goodness, 29 minutes. This is the best key point I find. Just absolutely smoking gun. Hasselblad camera. I've worked with Hasselblad cameras, but they are very, very delicate. They're handmade, and I think it takes a year to. They're very delicate. They're like a fine watch of yesteryear. Very, very delicate. Very, very delicate. So they took pictures up there, and it was just fastened. You have to look down, and you can't with the helmet. You just have to look at something and hope you're getting a good picture. They took 20 fantastically cropped pictures. I mean, they didn't need to be cropped. They were just basically perfect. I hope I'm taking the best pictures ever taken. And the thing is, in the shade on the moon, it's 250 below zero. In the sunshine on the moon, it's 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, the maker of Hasselblad, or the company leader, or I forget which. I'm too lazy. I'm not going to look it up. You look it up. He's so rude. Said they did nothing special. And NASA also said they did nothing special to the camera. So what happens is at 250 below zero, the film should have frozen, cracked, and broken into a million pieces. 250 degrees below zero, like, and then 250 above would scorch. I mean, it would just fry. And the camera wouldn't be able to work properly. The camera would not be able to work properly. And same if it was frozen. It would be just totally gone, wasted, destroyed. The camera does not deal with that kind of heat, temperature, and environment, and plus 1/6 gravity. I mean, it's just... Do they have the 1/6 gravity in the cabin? They have their suits on? Because if anywhere on this mission they used a regular movie camera, well, 1/6 gravity, it wouldn't work. So I don't know if they did. You do the research. Let me know. So that pretty well, I think that's one of the strongest facts ever, is that the fact that the camera can survive. Oh, and the micrometeors should have just embraced that lens totally, made it opaque. But that's okay, because it's the American way. So the radiation was really, really, really high, as I said before, and the radiation would have plastered the film with radiation spots. It would have been plastered the film. They wouldn't be able to film anything, you know. But that's okay, because when you have the right, the God-given right to believe in fairy tales, you know. Fairy tales can come true. They can happen to you if you're stupid and a slug. You know, I can't believe that people don't even, you know, and then you say something like that, which is absolute solid evidence those pictures were fake. Okay, so... oh yeah, and here's the my favorite number one reason why we didn't get to the moon. Couldn't take that chance. Even if they had the most perfect technology and they weren't lagging far behind the Russians, even if they did it and it was you can't, politically, that's a landmine. If they blew up on the launching pad like all those rockets did, Werner Braun, he'd take care of it. No, he didn't take care of it. They were blowing up, blowing up, blowing up. You know, and they had problems there's problems like fuel. The fuel was too heavy. So you have a big rocket with fuel. Well, that fuel's heavy. That rocket will never pull upwards. But hey, give a bigger rocket, but then you need more fuel, and you're not going to get off. Lightweight fuel was not invented at that time. Um, so they didn't go to the moon. They couldn't take a chance. It was a gamble. It was throwing the dice. If it blew up on the launch pad, or if it blew up in space, or even if they couldn't get off the moon and they'd starve to death and die of thirst, uh, America would never be able to save face. America would be the joke of the century, or the forever. They'd be the joke because they wouldn't be able to get over that, and the Russian launch would precede that and end up on the moon, and everybody would think Russia was the greatest nation on earth. And Stalin, right? It wouldn't have been a very good promotional thing to do. Okay, they couldn't take that chance. Imagine what the world would. There would have been no space program ever. That would have been cut off immediately. There would be no funding of $51 million a day. That would be cut off immediately. They couldn't take the chance, and they didn't have the technology, and so they were pretty much, somebody presented the problem of, well, what if it fails? What if there's a mission failure? Okay, we're going to have to make a movie. No, we can't. We're going to have to make a movie, and don't talk about Mission 13, because it's even more stupid. I don't even want to talk about it. It's so stupid. So they would never be able to save face. They would never be able to fool the slugs with propaganda, because they would have seen it on TV. They're dead, every one of them. Or how about day 3? Day 3 of the failed mission. Well, we got a little food left, but we're all getting weak. You want to see something good? Watch Capricorn 1. That pretty well sums that up. Anyways, they couldn't take a chance of failure. There was no way, and the only way you can secure a complete and healthy mission is through film photography. You couldn't do it in physical terms of going up there, landing on the moon, shaking hands with the president alien up there. You just couldn't do it. And who's to say that sand, that it wasn't sand up there? There was quicksand. Amazing how it all worked out, and how they just somehow knew the environment. It was an unknown country. They knew all about the dust and all about this and that and stuff. And they always say, well, there was no stars, and then NASA says, oh, well, because of the aperture. They could have just said, hey, Neil, take a couple star pictures for all the astrologers and all the experts, and astronomy and all that. I'm tired. It's so hot. You have no idea it's hot. Yet nobody understands the fact there are companies that you can pay them money and they will make it rain. They will make it rain. They're guaranteed. But does anybody take that information and print it out and take it to City Hall and say, hey, make it rain? We're the taxpayers. No, nobody does that. Well, why don't you? Well, sorry, pal, but my tour of duty is over now. I spent years fighting, protesting, confronting. I am done, because I know nothing changes, because the slugs are too prevalent on this earth. They're in 1/6 gravity. Yeah. That's another thing. 1/6 gravity, and they can only jump 18 inches high. I mean, it's endless. It's just endless. Absolutely endless. And I don't know, how do you put a flag together on the moon when there's 5 pounds of pressure? You can't bend your fingers. They've demonstrated this with experiments. You can't bend your fingers. You can't do you can't pick up a screwdriver. You can't do anything. And how do they move so freely in their suits that are highly pressurized? I was walking on the moon one day, and they're dancing, they're singing, they're shuffling, and all that. So I gotta wrap this up. It's just getting too long. Anyways, I'm kind of just blown out with the heat, so I kind of, I didn't do a very good job on this video. But I'll put it out anyways, and I wish I knew what to do with Patreon. I feel like I should be really doing something for these people. So, anything else to report? No. So that's it. That's the end of the show. Topo Gigi go home. Kiss me, Eddie. Any of you remember that? I've never had any comments. I guess you all don't remember. Anyways, I'm from the 60s and 70s. It was the greatest decades ever. It was a dream. It was the best time. It was also the worst time, too. We had, all of a sudden, we had John F. Kennedy shot, Robert Kennedy, shot, and Malcolm X shot, and Martin Luther King gone all at once. It was just bing a bang a boom, and they're gone. But it was the greatest time to ever be brought up. Oh, I just feel so blessed and so lucky to be born when I was born. So, anyways, there you go. And I got nothing against NASA. I don't know. I used to idolize NASA as a kid. Us boys wanted to grow up. We wanted to be John F. Kennedy, or we wanted to be an astronaut. Nobody wanted to be a gay stripper, for life. So there you go. I mean, this heat is just unbelievable. So that if I seem to be a little sluggy, that's why, because of the heat. So thank you, everyone. And anything else I'd like to say? Oh, just shut up. Oh, okay. There you go. And bye. Who are you people?